If you're watching this video, you are probably that friend who always bets on UFC Saturdays and who doesn't. I mean, if you are a fan of UFC, at some point you get pulled into the betting world. You tell yourself, this is easy money, I know the fighters, I know their styles, I can predict this. Maybe you even dream about hitting that one big parlay that makes you a millionaire overnight. But then reality hits. You look at your betting history and somehow you never win a single tick. Every weekend ends the same way. Another busted slip, another lost bet, and that sinking feeling of man, I was so close. Don't worry, you are not alone. 90% of bettors lose in the long run. And the reason isn't that they don't know how the sport, it's that they don't know how to bet smart. That's exactly why I made this video. Today I am going to break down the 6 most important tips you need to start betting like a pro on UFC fights. These aren't magic tricks and I am not promising you will win every weekend, but if you apply these strategies, you'll stop throwing money away blindly and actually give yourself a real chance at long-term profits. And stick around until the end because the last tip is pure gold. It's the one strategy that separates casual bettors from people who really make money in this game. So let's get into it. Tip number 1, the mindset. Before we talk about odds, fighters, or betting strategies, let's address the foundation, your mindset. Most people fail in UFC betting not because they don't know the sport, but because they approach it with the wrong mentality. Here's the reality. If you treat betting like a quick lottery ticket, you will lose. That gambler's mindset is what the sportsbooks want. People chasing a big win, betting on hype, or putting money on their favorite fighter just because they like them. That's how casinos and betting houses make billions every year. Instead, you need to shift to the investor's mindset. Think of every bet not as a gamble, but a business decision. Investors don't throw their money around emotionally. They look for opportunities where the numbers make sense, where the risk is calculated, and where the upside is worth it. In UFC betting, this means leaving your ego and emotion at the door. You are not here to prove your favorite fighter is the best. You are not here to avenge a loss from last weekend. You are here to think long term, protect your bankroll, and grow it steadily. Another key part of mindset is discipline. Even if you have the perfect analysis, the growth mindset will push you to overbet, chase losses, or get greedy after a win. Discipline means sticking to your plan no matter what, accepting that losing bets is the part of the game, and understanding that success comes from consistency, not luck. So before you even place a single dollar, check your mindset. Are you acting like a gambler chasing adrenaline or an investor making a strategic move? That answer to that question will decide whether you end up losing money like 95% of bettors or actually building long term profit like the top 5%. Tip number 2, do your research. The second real key to winning bets on UFC fights is simple but powerful. Do your research. Too many people place bets just because they recognize a fighter's name or because they saw a highlight reel knockout on Instagram. That's the fastest way to lose money. Betting is not about hype, it's about information. So, what does real research look like? Start with the basics. How does each fighter usually win? Are they a knockout artist, a grappler, or someone who relies on decisions? Then dig deeper, look at their past opponents. Has that fighter only looked good against weaker competition or have they been tested against top ranked fighters? Styles make fights, and a fighter who looks unbeatable against strikers might completely fall apart against a wrestler who can smother them. Don't stop there. Pay attention to details like training camps. Did they switch gyms recently? Are they working with high level coaches that could improve their weakness? Even little things like a fighter moving down in weight can tell you if they might struggle with cardio on a fight night. Injuries, short notice fights, and fighting in a different country with travel and jet lag. These things all matter when you are betting your money. And here's where you separate yourself from the casual. Watch the actual fights. Don't just read the stats. Stats might say a fighter has an 80% takedown defense, but when you actually watch, you might notice that defense only works against average wrestlers. Against an elite grappler, that number is meaningless. The more layers you add to your research, the more you'll start spotting opportunities that sportbooks didn't price correctly. Remember, knowledge is your first weapon, and the person who knows more than the average bet already has the edge before the fights even start. Tip number 3, understanding the type of bets. Let's move into the basics, understanding the type of bets. If you don't even know what you're betting on, you're basically donating your money to the sportsbook. Most casual fans only know the simple bet, who's going to win, but the UFC betting goes way deeper than that, and the more tools you have, the more opportunities you'll find. The first type is the moneyline bet. This is the classic who wins the fight bet. It's simple, but here's the catch. The odds are often stacked against you if you're only betting on the obvious favorite. For example, if a dominant fighter like Islam Makhachev is fighting a late notice replacement, the odds might be negative 600 or even worse. That means you'd have to risk $600 just to win 100. Not the smartest move unless you are stacking that pick in a parlay. Then we have the over under rounds bet. This is where you bet on how long the fight will last. Let's say the line is set at 2.5 rounds. You can bet whether the fight ends before or after that. This is super useful for stylistic matchups. If two knockout artists are going at it, maybe you lean under 2.5. If it's two wrestlers with a strong defense, maybe the over looks user. Next, we have the method of victory bets. These are higher risk but offer better payouts. You are betting not only on who wins, but how they win knockout, submission, or decision. For example, betting Derek Lewis by knockout almost always give you better value than just picking him a strike out because that's his most likely path to victory. And of course, there are parlays, combining multiple bets into one ticket. This can multiply your winning fast, but also multiply your risk. If even one pick fails, the whole ticket is gone. Parlays are fun, but if you are serious about making money, don't let them become your only strategy. Finally, let's talk about live betting. This is where things get really interesting. Once the fight starts, the odds shift in real time. Maybe a fighter looks gazed after the first round, or maybe an underdog shows a stronger grappling than expected. Live betting lets you take advantage of those moments, but it also requires quick decision making and discipline. The key point here is this: don't limit yourself to just one type of bet. If you only know moneyline betting, you are missing half the game. Real bettors learn to mix strategies, adapt to different fights, and find the hidden value in markets that casual fans ignore. Think of it like tools in a toolbox. The more you have, the more problems you can solve. And if you see betting, the more type of bet you understand, the more chance you'll have to beat the bookies. Tip number 4, avoid common mistakes. Before you even think about placing bets, you need to understand the mistakes that kill most beginners. The first one, chasing lose. You lose $20 on one fight and instead of accepting it, you throw $50 on the next fight, trying to recover. That's not a strategy, that's gambling emotion, and it almost always whips your bankroll. Another big mistake is betting with your heart instead of your head. Just because you love a fighter or he's from your country doesn't mean he's the smart pick. The odds don't care about your feelings. Pros know how to separate passion from logic. Then there's the classic betting every fight on the card. Some people feel like if there are 12 fights, they need to have action on all 12. But that's like flipping a coin 12 times, hoping to win them all. The smarter move is waiting for those one or two spots where you have a clear edge and going it with discipline. Finally, many beginners completely ignore odds movement. If you are not paying attention to how the line shifts during fight week, you might be too early or too late, losing value. Successful bettors know when to wait and when to pull the trigger. Tip number 5, bankroll management. Now let's talk about something that separates amateurs from pros. Bankroll management. It doesn't matter how good your picks are, if you don't manage your money, you will lose it all sooner or later. Most beginners throw random amounts on fights, $10 here, $50 there, then all in when they feel confident. That's the fastest way to burn your account. Instead, pros use a unit system. A unit is just a fixed percentage of your bankroll, usually 1 at 5%. So if your bankroll is $200, one unit is $2 to $10. Every bet is based on units, not emotion. Why is this important? Because betting is a marathon, not a sprint. Even the best bettors in the world lose 40 at 45% of their bets. If you are putting your whole bankroll on one fight, one upset can destroy everything. With bankroll management, you protect yourself against barriers and keeping yourself alive for the long run. Another key part is never increasing your bet size just because you are on a hot streak. Winning 3 bets in a row doesn't mean you suddenly become a genius. It just means variance is on your side for now. Stick to your units and let the math work over time, because they manage their money wrong. If you follow proper bankroll management, even an average betting strategy can make you profitable in the long run. Think of it as your shield. It won't win the battle for you, but it will keep you alive long enough to strike when the opportunity comes. Extra tip, follow the fighters, not just the odds. Before the last tip, here's a little bonus for sticking with me until now. One of the biggest mistakes casual bettors make is looking only at the odds and completely ignoring the fighters themselves. Betting lines tell you what the market thinks, but they don't tell you the full history. Start paying attention to the little details, how a fighter looks during 5 weeks, or their weight cut goes, and even their energy in interviews. Did they look drained on the scale? Did they sound confident or distracted when talking to the media? These are clues that can give you an edge. Social media is another gold mine. Sometimes fighters post training updates that reveal too much. Maybe they are coming off an injury, or maybe they've been spending more time partying than training. Bookmakers often don't adjust fast enough for these details, but if you catch them early, you can take advantage before the odds shift. Think of it like being a detective. You are collecting a small piece of information that, when put together, tell you whether a fighter is ready to perform at their best, or if they are walking into the cage at 70% of themselves. That's where you find opportunities that casual fans and even the sport books miss. Tip number 6, how to find value. Now here's the real trick, value betting. This is the point where casual fans stop and real bettors start. Instead of asking who's going to win the fight, you should be asking where's the line wrong. That one shift in mindset is the difference between donating your money to the sportsbook and actually growing a bankroll. Maybe a fighter is underrated simply because his name hasn't reached the mainstream yet, or maybe he's matched up against a hype train that casual bettors keep overvaluing. Odds are built not just on skill, but on perception, and perception can be very misleading. The public love knockouts, highlight reels, and trash talker, but the truth is styles make fights. A fighter with elite grappling or a gas tank that can go 5 rounds can complete in the line where opportunity lies. And here is the best part, you don't need to risk huge amounts to profit. Even with the small bets, if you consistently find value, over time the math works in your favor. Just like in the stock market, you don't buy what everyone is chasing. You buy what's undervalued, what's overlooked, and you let time and probability pay you back. This is the step that separates the gambler from the investor. This is where you stop throwing darts in the dark and start playing the long game. And if you can master this, you are not longer just betting on fights. You are building a system that can actually create real profit. That's why I say this last one is pure gold. So if you want to stop losing money on UFC fights, remember, research the fighters about emotional betting, manage your bankroll, and look for value instead of hype. That's how you turn betting into a long-term winning strategy. The sooner you apply these principles, the sooner you'll start seeing your tickets actually cash in. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe. I'll be dropping UFC betting picks every 5 weeks so you never go into a car unprepared. And hey, let me know in the comments which fighter you're betting on this Saturday. I'd love to see your picks.